Dandapani, what is the cost of distraction?
I'm terrified to even share, and I think people who are distracted don't know the cost of it. The cost of it is that I would say the biggest cost is the loss of your precious life, the time that we have in life. We
Hmm.
all assume we're going to live forever, regardless of your religious background, the philosophies you subscribe to. You have one life as you, and at some point you are going to die. This is non negotiable.
Right.
Every time you're distracted, distraction is robbing you of that finite amount of time you have in that life. And you don't know it until you get to the end and you go, oh, wow, I wasted all that time. Because we don't have a clock with a time on it telling us how much we have left. We assume we have infinite amount of time, but we don't. All of us have a finite amount of time. I realized that, and I realized that distraction will rob me of that time. That very same time, I could focus on my daughter, on my wife, and the people and things that I love. And therefore, on focusing on them, I can get rewarding experiences and live a rewarding life. The
Hmm.
distraction cost me that, and it's not worth it.
Why do you think people are so willing to, at some level, accept distraction, right? It seems so sadly common in our world today.
Yeah.
And whether, by the way, it's accepting it for themselves or with others in their lives that they interact with.
I think a few things with ourselves, distraction can be a wonderful distraction from all the things that you would need to face within yourself. People
Mm.
often ask me what was the most difficult thing in the monastery. Is it not seeing your family, talking to your family, your loved ones? Obviously, those were tough. Having a very strict routine. The toughest thing, Molly, is that the monastery had 51 acres of land, and each monk lived in a 10 by 10 uh, square foot, and well, it's base a hut, right? So 10 feet by 10 feet. We had no electricity, no water, nothing, no plumbing, and that's where I went back to my hut every night, and that was it. Every night I was left with me.
Hmm.
I had nothing to escape to. No food, no drinks, no phone, no internet, nothing.
Hmm.
I had to face everything inside of myself,
Mm.
and that was extremely unpleasant and painful.
Hmm.
Because whether I wanted to see it or not, there was nothing to escape to. Now, here, living in the world, if there's something going on inside of me, I can easily get online, get distracted with some Instagram reels, I can watch a movie on Netflix, I can eat some food, I can call somebody. There's a million things I can bury my head into besides myself. But in the monastery, there was nothing. So I think distraction is a great pain reliever
Hmm.
when you don't want to look inside and see everything that's going on, the good and not so good. So, and then with regards to other people and accepting distraction, we accept distraction in others because we don't value our life. We don't value the time that we have. We have this interview for an hour. If I said to you, you only had 45 minutes to live, would you stay here? You wouldn't. You'd leave. You'd say, great, chatting with you, bye, and you'd hang up and you go see your family.
Sure.
And in that 45 minutes you had left, if you were talking to someone and they were distracted, you wouldn't tolerate that. You wouldn't sit there and wait and go like, oh my God, I got 43 minutes left. He's so distracted with his phone. You're going to tell
Right.
him, look, put your phone away. I only have 43 minutes left. I look at my life that way. I don't think about death every day, but what I do think about every single day is that I have a finite amount of time. And I cannot tolerate someone robbing me of this precious gift called life that I have. So many people have died and would wish for 5 minutes more with a loved one,
Hmm.
and they can't get it.
It's interesting. Bonnie Ware wrote a book of the five regrets of the dying, and it's funny because they talk. I don't know all five off the top of my head, but
Yeah,
living a life of distraction as a regret isn't one of them.
no,
But at some level, I would imagine it's threaded in there somewhere, Don Depani, that
yeah,
people would regret that if they had an opportunity to think of it in the way that you're describing it, that it's robbing us of the ability to live and pour into the things and the people in our lives that matter most. And your book is intended to help people understand the power of focus, right? And
yeah,
and the impact of distraction. Um, so to take it a step further, how do you define focus, right? In a focused life, as you talk about it.
So I define focus as my ability to give who and what I'm with my undivided attention. So in the book, I talk about understanding the mind, and in understanding the mind, we talk about awareness and the mind. The mind doesn't move, but awareness moves within the mind. If I can, and I describe awareness in one example as a glowing ball of light that travels in your mind. If I can keep my awareness on you, Molly, I'm concentrating. But if it shifts away, I'm getting distracted. Then I bring it back using my willpower to you. My ability to hold it on you is my ability to concentrate. So to live a focused life is to go through your day in a state of giving who and what you're with your undivided attention, to be perpetually engaged in every task, in every conversation, in everything that you're doing. Now, people might feel that's daunting and difficult to do. It's only difficult because you've been practicing distraction for so long. And if you may
Mm-hmm.
remember in the book, I talk about the law of practice. You become good at what you practice.
Sure.
I've been practicing concentration for decades, so to be able to concentrate is not difficult. It doesn't make me special. It's just what I've been doing.
Sure.
Now, if I ask someone else who's distracted to concentrate, it's going to be very difficult for them. Now, if I ask someone who's a master at distraction to practice distraction 8 hours a day, they're not going to struggle with that. They can go like 8 hours a day. That's a piece of cake. Now, if you
Mm-hmm.
ask me to practice distraction 8 hours a day, I'm going to struggle because I haven't built those muscles, those distraction muscles. So, for you
Yeah.
asking me to do something that I don't know how to do, and that's why I'm going to struggle. And I think once people realize that concentration can be something that you can learn, practice, and make a habit. And once it becomes a habit, it's no different than distraction.
Mm-hmm.
The question
Mm-hmm.
to ask yourself is how much effort do you put into being distracted every day? And most people will probably say, I put no effort into being distracted. I'm
Right.
just naturally distracted.
So true.
So if you can do that, you can do focus as well. It's the same thing, it's just patterns, whatever pattern you've created. And that's all I'm
Well, it's
trying to teach
interesting.
people. Yeah.
And I think it's super cool how you talk about it, because people who are listening, and people who meditate, right? We work on focusing on very specific things inside of that 15, 20, 45 minutes that we
Yeah.
were to meditate. But what I'm sort of hearing you say is that there's an opportunity to, at some level, live your life like that every day. So instead of just that 45 minutes or that 15 minutes of meditation, that
Yeah.
it's the way that we choose to lock in, whether it's on conference calls, conversations with the people that we love, whether it's whenever it might be in our lives. You're suggesting almost take that meditation practice into your daily life and lock it and focus on those
Exactly.
moments all day long, every day. Is that an accurate sort of analogy
Ex-
at some level?
yeah, extremely accurate. In Hindu philosophy, the first two steps is working on the lifestyle. It's not actually even working on meditation. Only in the
Mm-hmm.
West do we see a
Mm-hmm.
picture of someone meditating by a river and we go, I want what that person has in the photo, which seems to be
Mm-hmm.
peace of mind. So I'm going to learn to meditate as well. But that's not where you start. You start with lifestyle design. You cannot meditate if you don't have a lifestyle that supports a meditation practice. There's no point for me to sit for 15 minutes in the morning trying to regulate my breath or chant some mantra if the remaining 23 hours and 45 minutes are going to run around like a head cut chicken.
Yeah.
How's that going to work? It's like me eating salad in the morning and then the rest of the day I'm going to binge on beer and fries and pizza and God knows what.
Yeah.
Does the 15 minutes of eating salad in the morning going to make a difference? Don't really think so. So the idea is to make your lifestyle, design your lifestyle that supports a concentration practice so that when you actually sit down to meditate, you're in a state of mind or focus. So
Yeah.
let me bring up this point. So if someone's meditating 15 minutes in the morning to learn how to concentrate, and the rest of the day, just say there's 24 hours a day, average person sleeps 8 hours a day if they're lucky, 16 hours a day you're awake. Just say out of the 16 hours, you you're distracted for 8 hours a day. So imagine practicing distraction 8 hours a day, and then the next morning you go and sit for 15 minutes. what do you think your state of mind's going to be?
Sure. Sure.
Focused or distracted?
Right.
So you start
Distracted.
with a lifestyle, then you start with
That's
the
interesting.
meditation practice, not the other
Mm.
way around.